why would I pay $200 for the original when I can get a fake that looks exactly the same, functions exactly the same for $20 on Amazon? So I want to answer that question in this video. It was something I was confused about when I first got into fidgets, and I'm sure it's a question a lot of people have who haven't bought knockoffs, or maybe who haven't bought the real thing before. So this is the Mott Rhythm, and this is a knockoff that I found on Amazon. And they look identical. One is stainless steel, one is titanium. And I have a number of other knockoff fidgets that I bought just to experiment with, but I want to show first the sound. So we'll just take a listen to the stainless steel version of the Mott Rhythm. So I will say right off the bat, I am an ADHD person. My wife is autistic, and both of us have different sensory needs. But for both of us, this is very loud in our ears, and I cannot play with this. I can't play with it around her. I can't play with it around me. It might not sound as bad on this video, but it stings in my ears. And I'll showcase another knockoff fidget in this video that doesn't have this sound issue, but for the purposes of comparing the real thing versus a fake, that's one of the first things you may notice is the quality. Although it's close, when they're not perfect, you run into issues like this. Like, this is completely unusable for me because of the sound, because of the way these plates clang into each other. So those little details are what make these more expensive fidgets more expensive, because the CNCing is more precise, the design is more precise, and speaking from experience in designing things, that last 10% of design often takes 90% of the time, just making something so perfect. But that's why it's fun to play with, and that's why people pay money for it, and that's why people make knockoffs of it. So next thing I want to talk about is the feel in hand and what it feels like to actually play with. So I'll compare the two, and we can watch. So right off the bat, this is already coming apart. And this isn't a problem that happens all the time with this fidget. And it doesn't happen all the time with knockoff fidgets, but it's another one of those 10% details with these knockoffs. They're going to fall apart more than the originals, at least in my experience. And that's jarring when I'm trying to use this toy as something that's satisfying, that's distracting me, that I can just not think about. And when it just falls apart in my hands, that's the opposite of a satisfying feeling. So a lot of people get these for, I guess, what I would describe as ASMR for the hands. And why would you have something in your hands like that isn't a nice feeling, or isn't the best feeling you can find? I think obviously price is an issue, but at some points this is having the opposite effect of what I want a fidget to do, which is to keep my hands busy, and it ends up making me more frustrated, making me stop paying attention to the task I'm doing. Yeah, it's a minor detail, but it does fall apart. The other issue I find with this knockoff and other knockoffs is the smoothness. Even if they stay together, the glide and the smoothness, again, that comes from that last 10%. It's just not as smooth. This just feels so nice. It's a unique feeling, and they're really tickling that part of your brain. Whereas this, you kind of get an approximation. And I'm trying to think of an example. Maybe having a homemade cookie versus having a Chips Ahoy cookie that's a little bit stale, that's on the counter. You're still getting a nice chocolate chip cookie. It's still kind of filling your belly, making you less hungry. You're getting some sugar, but that homemade cookie straight out of the oven, that just, it hits. And if you've never had a homemade cookie, if you've only had Chips Ahoy, you don't really understand why anyone would spend the time to cook a homemade cookie when I can just grab one out of the bag. But it's these little details that make something just feel that much better. And you can even see the thickness. I don't know if you can see in this video, but this is slightly thicker. This is slightly thinner. Just feels better in the hand. The other thing is resale value. Obviously, the real thing is a piece of art. Collectors like it, so the resale is a lot better on something that's not a knockoff. But I think if you take one thing away from this video, it would be that analogy between Chips Ahoy and homemade cookies. It's that last 10% that takes all the effort, that takes all the design. And when you support these companies as well that are creating these original designs, it allows them to create more original designs. And I think, in my experience as a business owner, as you scale up, you can make things more affordable as well. Whereas with these knockoffs, they get to kind of focus mainly on production, but they're still missing that fine detail, that last 10%. And it definitely is noticeable. It's a feeling, and feel free to try this out for yourself. I would definitely recommend getting 2 fidgets if you're on the fence, and then just reselling the expensive one if you find that they're equal. But in my experience, it's really hard to accept the knockoff, and I definitely won't be purchasing knockoffs in the future. I do want to show one other knockoff that I bought because I couldn't get the original anywhere. This is a knockoff of the Go Bigger Zoom, one of their original fidget guns, and I just wanted to feel what a fidget gun would feel like so I could understand what all the hype was about. And I wasn't able to feel the Go Bigger Zoom, but from feeling other fidget rings and other mechanisms that are similar to this, as you can see in my other videos, this has the same category of issues as this knockoff. It's not quite as smooth. It's not quite there. It feels like I'm driving a Toyota Prius when someone else is driving a Toyota Supra on the track. It's getting me from point A to point B. It's doing things that a car does, but when you drive that Supra on the track, there's a feeling in your brain that you're just not getting when you're driving a Prius around a track. And I really don't have a better analogy at the moment for that, but you get the feeling, you get the idea. And I'm glad I bought this because it tells me I don't like fidget guns. I like the little fidgets like this that are kind of inconspicuous. These are too big. So for me, this served its purpose. But in terms of a fidget toy, yeah, the real thing is just so much better. Toyota Supra versus Toyota Prius. And if you can afford it, I would definitely recommend getting the higher quality fidgets. Don't feel bad, I guess, getting these knockoffs if that's what you can afford and you need something to fidget with, because it's fun. This was the first fidget I got because I couldn't find a rhythm and I couldn't afford it out at the time, even if I could find one. And obviously I couldn't use it for the sound, but if you find one that you can use, it's still something that I'm sure you can distract your mind with, and you can satisfy your ADHD or whatever tendencies you have that you want to fidget for fun, for staying focused during a meeting. But if you can't afford it, and you can always look on trading forums, just find one fidget you like, get it from the maker, and enjoy it would be my recommendation, because there's just another level of quality that you're going to want if you're fidgeting with this every day. If it's really an EDC everyday carry for you, I think it's worth it in the long run. You know, if this is something I'm going to use for 365 days in a year, then if I spend $200 on it, that's less than $1 a day. And if I use it for 10 years, in the case of something that's quality, you know, we're talking like a couple cents every day to use that. So in my opinion, that's worth it. I'll let you take what you will from this video, but overall, the last 10% really does make a difference.